Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Laps Down podcast. My name is MJ.
And I'm Andrea.
And this is not our usual recording date, and we very much appreciate you giving us the grace of Monday and Tuesday so that we could put this up on Wednesday. Because actually, Andrea did something very exciting. Do you want to talk about what you're allowed to talk about of the exciting thing you did?
You know, I signed like a pretty clad, tight NDA. You know what I mean? So I don't want to no, I'm just kidding. They didn't let me. They said I could say whatever the fuck I want. I went and saw the F1 movie. I gotta, because I live in DC, they had like an advanced screening of the F1 movie. It is funny. I showed up and they like had like a bunch of people there that were like not motorsports creators. Cause obviously there's not a lot of motorsports creators in the DC metropolitan area. I know all of them. But they had other influencers there. They have like a sign-in sheet. They never asked me for my full name, so it literally said Apex Andrea.
Oh, I love that.
I was like, oh, like this is my name, and he's like, I don't see that on here. And I was like, oh, I see it. I'm the Apex Andrea one. He was like, right, okay. You're all checked in. Bye. But
that's kind of crazy. They never asked for your name. They saw it and they go, yeah, this will do, I think.
Yeah. That's actually her full gov. Apex, first name, Andrea, last name. But yeah, I saw the F1 movie. We'll have to do like an F1 movie club. We'll have to call it that, F1 movie club. Still not sold on the name, by the way. Like, we couldn't think of anything better than F1 movie.
We have... Oh, I thought you meant like our name, and I was like, what? That's what it is. It's movie club.
Yeah. If you haven't already, on Monday we did upload a different movie club. It was for the American Thunder NASCAR to Le Mans documentary, which is on Prime. And everybody that's watched that documentary has said that they've loved that documentary. So that means if you haven't watched it already, you should probably watch it and then watch our episode on it. But we do appreciate you being patient on this episode. I think we let it cook like just long enough, though. Like, we're getting a lot of like follow-up from the storylines that we would have talked about on Sunday. Sometimes, guys, if you let the episode marinate and we put it out on a Wednesday, like, it hits different. We're not going to do it anymore. I'm sorry, we've been doing that a little bit more lately. But it's not our fault. They've been putting stuff at like 8 p.m. and we're tired girls. What do you want from us?
We weren't born to record past 10 p.m. You guys don't like our episodes when we stay up till 1 a.m. recording anyways. They don't make any sense.
I fear they do like it. That's the problem. You guys.
Bless your hearts.
But speaking of being sleep deprived, do we want to get started on our first series this week? Because it's a special one. Le Mans. We did watch Le Mans. And I feel like I can't say that there was like major storylines that stick out in Le Mans. Because it's like, I'm just watching it for vibes. But we did learn a lot.
I had a great time watching. I do feel... starting with a motorsport series such as WEC and being like, I think the first race I'm going to watch is actually the 24-hour one. That was hefty. That was a hefty take on our part. I did learn a lot. You want to hear some of the fun facts I learned?
I would love to hear about the fun facts.
I learned a lot of fun facts. Also, shout out to Kana because he was telling me a lot. First of all, my favorite fun fact that I was taught is that their fuel is sustainable. It is made from wine waste, which is essentially grapes. So these cars are running on grapes.
That's
thoughts? Fun. Isn't that amazing? That's lovely. Yeah. Also learned bugs. Bad.
Okay, that was like the major storyline of Le Mans this year, is that they kept being like, what are we gonna do about all these bugs? And I was like, that's a great question. I don't know what we're going to do about it. And
get a windshield wiper, dude. Do what I do. I live in the Midwest, driving down the interstate. Toss on that windshield wiper. I don't know. Go slower. You guys will figure it out.
Have less bugs die on your window by making your window less see-through so they don't think that they can fly into it.
Get rid of the window.
Fly. Drive your car out of a little peephole.
Just one singular hole. Get rid of the aero screen. We've always said it was annoying. Get rid of it.
Yeah, just have the bugs fly onto your face.
Yeah, that's fine. You can. Yeah. I also learned that there are 3 safety cars at Le Mans because it's such a big track. Did you know that?
No, I did know the track was pretty big.
Isn't it like
it was
8
interesting.
miles?
It's pretty long. It was interesting, like hearing them talk about like all the different pavement types that they have to drive over, because like some of it is like purpose-built track, some of it is like a street course essentially. Obviously, those have like different like the pavement is completely different, and it completely like changes the tires throughout one lap. You're getting like a bunch of different conditions on the same tires, and they can react differently and make like the drivability weirder on certain parts of the track. And I was like, that would suck. Not only do you have to do this for 24 hours, within one lap, you have like fucking 3 different types of pavement you have to drive over. Fuck. They're like rally cars at a certain point.
They got to get a Ford F-150 out there. It'd be fine all terrain.
It'd be fine.
Also, I learned, I'm literally just listing off fun facts. Like, that's literally what it says in the doc, is just fun facts I learned. That the champagne spray on the podium, it was started at Le Mans by, I have the name written down, in 1967 by Dan Gurney, who was trying to recreate an incident that happened the year before when they got their champagnes. Like, one of the little corks accidentally popped off and sprayed. So it was like completely an accident. So anyways, so it wasn't Lando who did the first champagne spray. It was actually my man, Dan.
I disagree. My feelings don't care about your facts.
Amen. Amen, sister. Oh, and then you also made a note that the Le Mans intro music is everything. I remember we texted each other. We were like, what was that?
Okay, so like I feel like MJ, you said you would not want to go to a 24-hour race. You would rather watch from home. But like, I want to see the start of Le Mans in person someday, because oh my God, is that drama? It's drama. It's drama.
Isn't that music just for us though? Like, they don't hear that.
No, girl, they are playing that at the track, I think. Should I confirm?
Well, that's different.
Should I confirm with my college friend whose brother was driving?
Yeah, ask him. Ask him how he did too.
But like, I think that the start to Le Mans is so drama, because they have to like line them all up by their little classes, because they have like the 3 different like races going on, you know? Yeah. Well, fucking tear down the class system, guys. Why don't we let all the cars just start at the same time?
Scramble them together.
Yeah, what the fuck is this actually? Actually, when you say it that way, now I'm mad about the start. But they're like, and Le Mans is about to begin, and they just start playing like this, like do 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 do, like that type of vibe.
Yeah, it's from Toy Story. It's the Buzz Lightyear song.
Yeah, and then they like let him go, but like it's super drama. A couple years ago, they had LeBron.
They had LeBron at Le Mans?
Yeah, in 2023. Have you seen American Thunder?
No, I sure would like to learn a lot more about that, maybe by watching other people talk about it.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a video on it. I'll send it to you later.
Cool.
But I loved the start. And then, I don't know, do we want to talk about anything about the race?
Okay, 2 things about the race that I thought were of note. One is that I thought it was funny that we were 3.5 hours into the race and both Alpines had pit lane violations for speeding the pit lane. Funny. I thought that was funny. But I think it happened more to more people, so it got less funny, but at the time it was really funny. And then
I think people started just like using pit lane speed as like a suggestion partway through.
It truly felt
they were just
that.
They were just like, okay, so I can just go kind of whatever speed I want. And they're like, well, there's a penalty. And they're like, yeah, but like everybody else has a penalty, so it's kind of whatever.
Yeah, stick it to the man. Everyone do it together. They can't catch you all.
tear down that class system.
Yeah. And then after the race, this was announced today, but I knew about it yesterday. The number 50 Ferrari was disqualified post-race, and my only thought was Penske must be thrilled about this, because it's not just us. Their rear wing was allowed, what is the word? Oh, it was allowed like 15 millimeters of deflection, but it was 55 millimeters. And even as an American, I was like, that's a hefty difference. And it was because there were supposed to be more bolts, but there was only 4 bolts in the rear wing. And so they're like, oh no, it happened because of this. but we didn't have any advantage. And the stewards were like, that's crazy because we noticed that after you noticed that there was only 4 bolts in this rear wing, you guys actually got your fastest lap of the entire race. So we are going to have to disqualify you. And I just thought that was frankly.
Isn't the number 50 Ferrari the one with Antonio Giovinazzi? Or whatever his name is, the ex-Ferrari.
I don't know.
F1
Maybe.
guy. The one with the hair.
Did he get P4?
Sure.
Was he on a podium?
Turns out Ferrari's pretty good at Le Mans.
Very good.
Are they
Very good.
Did Kana give you a sense if they're good at WEC entirely, or just they show up and show out for Le Mans? We'll have to ask him another time.
That's a great question. I will have to ask him. But the Porsche Penske's went from last to second.
Okay, Joseph Newgarden.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, though, because that's like the one place that Roger Penske's never won at. Get fucking wrecked.
That's so true.
Sorry, that was insensitive of me.
To who? Roger Penske?
To the Penske's who got wrecked.
Oh, well, we can talk about that later. Preview for later. Do we want to talk about anything else, Le Mans? Le Mans. Start pronouncing the S really hard. Le Mans.
Le Mans. I had a really great time.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's good. Okay. Let's move on to F1. So we had the Canadian Grand Prix this weekend, and that was fine. But the Canadian Grand Prix for me became kind of a trigger word because we were talking about this stupid 2026 schedule that got released. And one of the major things was that they moved the Canadian Grand Prix for next year to be on the same day as the Indy 500 and the Coke 600, presumably. What do we think about that?
Dumb. I think.
Dumb, stupid heads, probably.
Dumb, stupid idiot heads. The thing, I was much more passionate about this like a week ago. I'm still passionate about it. It's just like, it's silly. It's very silly. And I think a lot of people who are annoyed at IndyCar fans who are like, well, F1 is so much wider internationally. Like, no one internationally is going to watch the Indy 500 over like a Canadian fucking race. Canada, yeah. Which I think is wrong. I obviously think that's wrong. But also, it's like, this is a battle within North America. Like, it's clear that they want a North America
to Indy.
I think also another point is the Miami GP is 2 weeks before, and then obviously we have 2 or 3 weeks before, and then there's 2 weeks of just like nothing, and then we have the Canadian Grand Prix. I think they're shooting themselves in the foot that way too, because a lot of the people I know who are who went to the Miami GP also went to Canada because they were spaced out enough. So I think this is either F1 like showing IndyCar like, we do not give a fuck about you, or specifically the Indy 500, because it's like there's always something scheduled over each other, just like during the regular season, specifically to the Indy 500 being like, we're better than you, we don't give a fuck about you. Or alternatively, and maybe also Lee, I think they just are saying fuck you to Canada by putting them there, because now Canada is going up against the Miami GP. It's also going up against the Indy 500. It's also going to have to start, like, setting up in the dead of Canadian winter for the GP. And I gotta be honest, I don't think these cars can barely race in the rain, let alone 6 inches of snow.
Well, I personally took it as, like, a slight to IndyCar because it was, like, the same time zone. It literally is, like, starting presumably like an hour after the Indy 500.
Yeah.
So I'm like, right. So the end of the Indy 500, the part that people will really want to clock in for, you're going to start the Canadian GP. Interesting. And I don't think we were alone in thinking this, because I was listening to Off Track, and I think that James Hinchcliffe has an interesting perspective here as he works for both IndyCar and F1. And he clarified something for me that I thought was true, which is I thought we were moving Monaco because F1 was tired of competing with the Indy 500. I thought of it as like they kind of were like, let's stop trying to do this on the same day as the Indy 500 because like literally F1 drivers are sitting in the press conference of the Monaco GP saying, can we wrap this up so I can go watch the Indy 500? Like, I thought that they were tired of competing. I think that James Hinchcliffe, he said that he had people on the F1 commentary team texting him for places to stay in Indianapolis because they were like, for the first time in my life, I'm going to get to go to the Indy 500. Like, motorsports fans that are like in Europe that do care about the Indy 500 finally could like, you know, make their way over. I thought we were trying to delete the competition. Instead, they doubled down on it and chose the race geographically as close to Indianapolis as you can get in the same time zone. Most people in the east side of the U.S. and the Midwest area, Canada is actually the closest F1 race for them. I'm closest to Canada in D.C. than I think maybe it's the same distance to Canada as it is Miami. And so I've always said, like, I would love to go to the Canadian GP. Bet your ass it won't be happening next year. That won't be happening. Yeah. So, like, I do kind of feel like James said that he thinks that F1 is threatened a little bit by IndyCar. And then he kind of walked it back when he said, oh, it looks like the conflict's only going to happen every couple of years and it's just like a circumstantial thing based on like
5 years.
Travel or something. But like,
well,
I find it interesting, like, could the Indy 500 be in a way a threat to F1 if we're seeing all this growing interest in it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things to look out, especially internationally. People like to watch the Indy 500. They may not be IndyCar fans, but a lot of people tune into the Indy 500. That's totally fair, totally valid. Sky Sports will not be showing the Indy 500 because they will be showing the Canadian Grand Prix. So there is essentially nowhere for those international fans to watch the Indy 500. They will have to watch the Canadian Grand Prix or the Coke 600 if they do fancy. I think that'd be fun. But also famously, F1 used to have the Indy 500 like on their calendar. So it feels like you're disrespecting your own history. And then, like, speaking of IndyCar history, do we remember what happened to the series who tried to go head to head with the Indy 500? They don't exist anymore. So it's like, I think it's silly, and I think this is just another excuse for, like, F1 fans and IndyCar fans to be divided when I truly think we should all come together, you know? Plus, it's agree. Like, Monaco, Indy 500, Coca-Cola 600 was beautiful. Like, it was truly beautiful.
You had NASCAR fans watching Monaco.
Yes.
Because they wanted to participate in the triple header.
And the people who can afford to go, like, at a certain point, it's like, by moving Monaco, if you want to make the argument, we want more people to go to Monaco, then, I don't know, maybe they think they're getting audience from the Indy 500, maybe. It's like, most people can't afford to go to Monaco anyway, so it's like, are people even going to tune into Monaco now that it is not part of Motorsport Christmas? Like, it's a skippable race. You could look at the box notes and box score and be totally fine. It just, none of it makes sense. Like, I know they're trying to follow the money, but they're, like, following the money and then, like, not, like, looking at all the traffic cones that they're passing on the way and being like, hey, wait a minute. I think that's going to work out.
I think that the weirdest thing to me with F1, and this has actually been something that, like, I have felt since the moment I came into F1 as a fan, is like they have these contradictions of wanting US audience and then doing everything in their power to diminish their US audience.
Yes.
It's so confusing. Like, I would love to just sit down in the room of whoever made this schedule and be like, you're gonna have to walk me through this one, because how on earth is this helping you gain a US audience? Not to mention, like, I think that F1 has delusions of grandeur. Some people think that it's not that big of a deal, but, like, this is, I think, part of the same behavior of them losing streaming rights on ESPN next year because they're asking for twice the amount of money that they did this year. Like, they don't know what their audience is. They don't even know their own worth in the U.S. They think they can compete with the Indy 500. Who gave you that idea?
Yeah, I think I am kind of excited to watch it go down, though. Because there are, there was 350,000 people at the Indy 500 this year. There were so many, the Indy 500 was sold out. So that they allowed people in Indiana to watch the race. Like, it might be kind of fun to watch. I do love a bit of hubris. It's like,
I fear you guys know what side of the divorce me and MJ will be on.
It's like, yeah, I'm not going to give up the one race a year that's the greatest spectacle of racing for Canada. I particularly like Canada. I fucks heavy with the Canadian GP. I don't know. I'm interested to see, but I also hate these situations because it's just another reason for like F1 fans to be like, these fucking IndyCar fans thinking that their sport's better than ours. And it's like, I have never said that IndyCar is better than F1. I definitely said that IndyCar is better than F1, but like not like that. I'm talking about the Indy 500. I'm saying more people are going to watch the Indy 500 than the Canadian Grand Prix. That's what I'm saying.
This is the last thing I'll say on it. No promises on MJ. She might go ham again. The last thing I'm going to say on it is like, there is a cognitive dissonance to saying, well, I don't watch the Indy 500. Well, I'm going to watch the Canadian GP and I live in America. Congratulations. That does not refute the point. You are in the minority. And the fact that people actually try to say like, well, the American... I had people respond to me, the American audience isn't actually that important to F1. It's a global sport. Hey, genius, I know, okay? What I'm saying, though, is that they've made it abundantly clear they want an F1 audience, and they're scheduling it in conflict with the largest race in America. So you're not going to get an American audience for F1. Sorry.
That's just, yeah. And if you keep pissing off I see people falling out of love with F1 all the time. Like other content creators, you'll notice they're not posting anymore and now they're posting about like completely different things. It's like you can't try to create this audience, especially you just put out a blockbuster film. You just put out a fucking blockbuster film that is targeted towards the American audience. Like it's a Hollywood movie. You're clearly tailoring yourself to the American audience, the North American audience. Like it's just so like baffling that they make these decisions. You don't have to compete with the Indy 500. You don't have to. No one's asking you to. IndyCar literally put out a statement that just said like, oh, okay, well, we're just gonna be on the same weekend that we have been for the past 100 years. I don't know. None of my business. Don't come to me with this shit. I don't know. I'm at a loss.
If I were making the schedule, I would have made it a gap week. The week of the Indy 500, there would have been no F1 race. But
I would have kept Monaco.
Yeah, but that was just embarrassing for Monaco.
Well, Monaco's embarrassing. Sometimes things have to be parades, and you just have to appreciate them for what they are.
I love a little Memorial Day parade. And that's what that was. Okay, so the Canadian GP of this year... less controversial. So in qualifying, I think a interesting point from practice, nothing too specific to point out, but a lot of people were slipping and sliding in practice. The track was extremely dusty. They had those super, super soft tires again this week that a lot of people were kind of saving their mediums and not using them in practice so that they would have them to use in qualifying and the race, because the soft tires aren't as useful as you would think they would be when they're those C6 super, super soft ones. And we had people like literally spinning out like the moment they touched the track during practice, smacking walls, the usual of Canada. That led to qualifying kind of being interesting because I think a lot of people were playing qualifying like they thought there might be like a red flag or something at any moment, or like a yellow that kills their lap because so many people were having issues during practice. So anyways, Yuki, 10-place grid penalty for overtaking Oscar during the red flag. I mean, considering Yuki was already struggling enough.
He's innocent.
This is the same thing that we saw Ollie Behrman get a penalty for earlier this year. I guess don't do that anymore.
Sorry, yeah. Oscar was going fucking slow and he's in the fastest car. Someone down here is trying to prove themselves. Let Yuki race Oscar under the red flag. Let him.
Yeah, let him. This was crazy. Alex's car exploding in qualifying. This was the cause of the red flag.
The engine cover just like it literally just exploded off. And I may just be numb to Williams now, but like I looked at it and I was like, yeah, sure, yeah.
And then like you could see as he was driving past like literally all of the insides of his car. I literally was like, whoa, that's intimate. I never wanted to know that much. Yeah, I literally was like, I've never wanted to see that much of the Williams in my life. I watched it back a couple times and I understand that they're like, oh, that happens sometimes. But I'm like,
no.
Yeah, but how? How did it explode like that? That's insane. But he did end up getting to come in and fix it during the red flag and actually got back out and put in a pretty good qualifying time. Found his way up to Q3. Shout out Alex. Not the same can be said for Carlos. Carlos was impeded and out in Q1 by Isaac. Lovingly, Isaac was not doing a great job during qualifying of not impeding people. He did it like kind of a little bit again to, I think, Charles, but I think he got away with it. The story is that he wasn't told by his engineer that Carlos was still putting in a flag. He said, I thought he aborted that lap, which I'm like, did you just see Carlos going really slow and think he wasn't trying anymore? Because I fear that's just the Williams.
Hey, not all of us could be in a V car, my guy.
But he got a 3-place grid penalty, but Carlos, I mean, it doesn't help him at all. Some people have tried to say, like, there should be a different penalty for that, because who knows? Maybe Carlos could have made it into Q3 Alex. What do you think?
No, I don't really care what happens to Carlos. I think the punishment should be on the one who spreads the misfortune, and I think you should just delete their lap time. Just do like what every other sport does and just delete the fucking lap time. Grow up, F1. Delete the lap time. 3-place grid penalty.
Okay. What would 3-place grid penalty?
That's nothing. 3 places. He already made it to Q2. Nothing. That's nothing. Delete the lap time. Send him to the back of the line.
I think the problem is that F1 can't make decisions fast enough to do that.
There is no reason it should take you 45 hours to go, it's like, fucking look at the video. Open your eyes.
I'm pretty sure Isaac, like, actually also admitted on the radio that he impeded. He kind of was like, oh, that was not good. Sorry, it's actually my engineer's fault. Like, he, like, straight up, I think, admitted that he, like, fucked up. And he was like, sorry, Carlos. My bad. But, no, they had to think about it for a very long time. This was interesting. This was not what was happening on the F1 TV broadcast this Mr. Saturday.
Yeah, when they said that to him, I was like, that was really fucked up that you said that. They called him Mr. Saturday. I was like, he has actively won before. This is not Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, she's talking about Saturday. George. They were calling George Mr. Saturday. It's okay. Hey, it's okay.
Well, see, because I read the doc, and I assume everyone at home, everyone open up your doc and follow along. So I just assumed they knew what I was talking about.
Could you imagine if we start sending out our show notes before we do the show?
Some of them,
hey guys,
I would have to
edit.
Dude, it would be so hard to read them, because sometimes I'm just in there typing, and I go, haha, that was funny.
Yeah. I sometimes write the punchline to my own joke in here, so I remember to say it.
I've done that before, too.
Yeah. I was like, I think we were all expecting Mercedes to do well this weekend because they did well last year in Canada. Turns out they like Canada. So when they were like,
isn't that their thing? They can only work in the cold.
Yeah. I think that they've gotten a little better, but it's still generally a good rule of thumb that if it's hot, Mercedes is not feeling it. Yeah.
Mood.
So true. I hate it when it's hot out. You know, you can always take layers off, but you can't put them in layers. You know what
Getcha.
But I don't know. I think that it was funny just seeing how good Mercedes did. Sorry, I have to just plug my computer and I'm going to just keep talking from off screen. Don't worry about it, guys. Because we had George get pole, and that leads us into the race where everybody was like, if George can maintain the lead from like lap 1, then he's probably good for the race. Only problem is there was somebody next to him. Who was next to him, MJ?
Max Verstappen.
Oh my gosh, the girls are fighting. So they kept asking Max in the press, like, what's the deal for tomorrow? Are you gonna fucking just take him out? Because you took him out last time, so we're just wondering, are you gonna do it again? And I was curious what your thoughts are on this. He was like, oh my God, everybody, stop talking about this. It's so lame. I'm so tired of talking about it.
I think,
and the journalists were like, so yeah, I do have to actually write a story.
Yeah, it's like, this is actually the headline for the weekend because of a decision that you made. We actually would prefer not to talk about this either, but you did make the decision for us that we were going to continue to talk about it. I fear Max has become cringe. He is giving Ricky Stenhouse Jr., where it's just like, he wants to be like, I don't know. I always think his comments to the press, when it's like a direct result of something that he did, when he's like, let's talk about the race. And it's like, yeah, you remember when you tried to torpedo George in the like, that's part of the race. We didn't make it up. Like, it's not just like, you know, my threshold with Max right now is low. I think Max is becoming cringe.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
So George did keep the lead in lap 1. We did, however, see a overtake by Kimi Antonelli pretty soon in the race over Oscar Piastri that he also ended up maintaining. And we got a George win and a Kimi Antonelli podium. Wow. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we did kind of admit that like Mercedes was on the up and up. They were going to get this crazy upgrade and they were going to start winning and shit. You know what I mean? Like,
this is us.
Like, don't even worry about it, guys. Like, we're just like predicting the future per usual.
Yeah.
I have to say though, like Kimi Antonelli getting his first podium at Mercedes before Lewis Hamilton has gotten his first podium at Ferrari, or yeah, I mean, like he's gotten his first podium at 18. You have people like Nico Hülkenberg that are like, yeah, I'm gonna get one of those one day. I don't know. It is kind of crazy, like how young he is for the success that he's already had.
He did come into the sport and directly go to one of the top teams, though.
I was just about to say, do you think that... I think that he still isn't really in the running for Rookie of the Year. I fear that's Isaac Hadjar.
No.
Because when you compare the equipment...
It's definitely Isaac Hadjar. Like, not even a shadow of a doubt. I think he just came in Lewis Hamilton's replacement, and it's like, well, yeah, but you're a top team, and it's working out for him. But I also think that we can't be like, child prodigy, he's a child prodigy, because there are rookies like Isaac Hadjar on the grid, and it's like, okay, well, he's in that car with that teammate, and he's still performing really, really well for his circumstances every weekend. It's just...
George is looking at him, and he's like, bitch, I had to start in a fucking Williams. What is this?
I know. Will we be able to say that, what is it they always like to say? Oh, has he gone through any adversity, Kimi, besides, like, finals?
No. His only adversity was getting kicked off of first place when he got that sprint pole. Like, before they even got into turn 1, Max Verstappen was like, right, so, no.
Yeah, but that's an adversity that they all share, I think.
He did it nicely, I think. He was like, okay, Kimi, you're going to have to skedaddle to the back,
Move
please.
over, kid. I'm looking out for you, eh?
So there was a little storyline. I don't really know how much of a splash it really made of, you now had Oscar Piastri in front of Lando Norris, who had qualified 7th and built his way up to 5th. And then you have Oscar Piastri in 4th. And Lando Norris and him, they had some good, I will admit, they had some good wheel-to-wheel fighting. I actually was kind of like, what? This is good driving, guys. Good job out there. Good job not taking each other out and just like wheel-to-wheel fighting. That was crazy. And then, unfortunately, Lando kind of took himself out via the wall variety and just kind of running into it. What do you think, MJ?
Here's what I'll say.
McLaren shit.
I texted you and I said I've been marinating on something. And this specifically is what I've been marinating on. As much as I think had we filmed this in the heat of the moment on Sunday at, 2 a.m., I think I would have been like, Lando, dumb, stupid idiot head, never going to be good, always going to be bad Lando. Thinking about it now, I think this is the first time I've ever seen Lando, actually want something. This is the only time I've ever seen him, make a move for something, and sure, it didn't work out, and that sucks, that's an issue, but I don't think I've ever seen him, in all of the time I've been watching F1, I don't think I've ever seen him, make a move, do something, show us you want to beat Oscar. Yeah. And so here's my hope. My hope is now he's desperate. We are now seeing desperation out of Lando, and hopefully from that it will breed some kind of success, some kind of, passion for it. It's just, for so long, I was like, you don't want the world championship. You didn't want it last year. It looks like you don't want it this year. And then in this battle, I was like, oh my God, Lando has finally showed up. So while obviously it's not great to hate your teammate, he did take full responsibility for that, and kudos to him. I don't know. This might have been the thing that could have possibly turned me into a Lando
rooting for him to be let's go get him.
Yeah, a Lando hopeful, maybe. I would love to see a championship battle, and I think Lando, unfortunately, not unfortunately, sorry, I just said I was going to be nice to him. Lando is the one who's going to give it to Oscar. So it's if you have to make those moves, it would have worked out if it would have worked out. I don't know. It did make me a little excited.
So I have also been marinating on it. And I think originally I would have also said, Lando, dumb, stupid idiot head. I have marinated on it and have refined my position. But my position remains widely the same. Which is, I think he is desperate. And unfortunately, desperation does not look good on Lando. The only other time I have seen him go for it that I can think of is, I don't know if it was earlier this year or late last year. I want to say it was almost earlier this year when he was trying to race with Max out of the pits and decided to just drive on the grass and kind of eat shit a little bit that way. I think that he when he gets into these modes where he can see right in front of him the person that he's in a direct competition with, I think he loses his cool in a way that we don't see Oscar do. And Oscar saw Lando in his rearview mirror and was like, okay, I'm going to put on the defenses. But Lando saw Oscar in front of him and was like, I'm going to drive in the smallest of gaps between Oscar and this wall rather than just waiting a little bit longer to overtake him. I don't know. I just feel sometimes his desperation can lead him to just lose all spatial awareness or just do things that it's that was never going to work, Lando. You can't race Max out of the pit lane in the grass.
Yeah, he is kind of playing darts in the dark. But
it's better than not playing darts at all.
I don't know. I truly think he just needs some kind of fire under his ass. That's really what he needs. I don't know if he's ever felt, which maybe this is his first, because he really tries to play it he feels no pressure. He's just here to race every weekend. He feeds us that bullshit. Mm-hmm. I think as soon as he starts to feel pressure, understand how to use it, it could work out for him. That being said, he has to be adult enough to understand that when he gets in these uncomfortable situations where he feels desperate, where he wants to make these moves, he has to learn how to manage that and
do it in a more productive way.
Right.
But I agree. It's better that he's playing darts in the dark, but at least he's playing darts now. He wasn't playing darts before.
It seems now he has a general idea of where the dart board is.
Yeah. He's facing the right direction.
Yeah.
Still
So maybe
dark,
something will stick. Now, do I think he's probably going to get world champion this year? No, because I think we are going to see more mistakes. However, maybe if he starts to race like he wants it, maybe he'll get a contract.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
He'll get closer in points to Oscar. He'll get a couple wins over him. He might even get a couple overtakes on him. It might be enough to like close the gap so we can have a real fight rather than Oscar just running the fuck away with it.
Because I feel like within points, it is a real fight. But there is no fight out of Lando, which is the issue.
The problem is they both have good cars and they're both on the same team. And so it's like Oscar's winning, Lando's getting second. That's not gonna, in the long run, produce a fight. You gotta get first sometimes.
He simply has to be comfortable fighting his teammate. Mm-hmm. You can do it. I believe it. At least I think he could do it probably half the time. He could fight and win Oscar. And if he fights and lose, our goal is to maintain the position we're losing at and not retire the car.
Right. I think also he needs to get his qualifying speed back. Right now, that's the best thing that Oscar has. Oscar's consistently qualifying ahead of him. Lando's putting in great races from 7th place, but that doesn't really help him much if Oscar started in 2nd, 3rd, 4th,
right,
1st. That's not, you know what I mean? It's like you're already...
he needs to... I feel like he was fine with qualifying last year. The thing was he was good with qualifying and then couldn't do starts. And now he can do starts, but it's just like you're not qualifying high enough to be able to do it. I don't know. I'm hopeful on Lando. I see a bright future for this young man for like at least the next 2 years, I think, is as long as his contract is. And then after that, maybe we'll, I don't know, find some random 17-year-old that we want to get a super license and pop him in next to Oscar.
Pop him in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the fact that Nico Rosberg reached out to Lando to offer him advice about a title championship with your teammate, and he ignored Nico's DM?
I would do this. I thought it was a letter. I thought it was he wrote him a letter.
I honestly, I don't know what the format was. He just
I thought
said
that's what it was. Maybe it wasn't.
That's even funnier.
Don't know if I would have either. I don't think I would have, frankly. I would have been like...
He won.
Yeah, he did win. He did win, and he lost his best friend in the battle. And I think Lando cherishes Oscar, and he doesn't want to lose his best friend. And he's also like, fuck, if I win a championship, do I have to go on Sky Sports with Danica Patrick? Is that the life I'm doomed to live? And so he's just steering clear right now.
I think right now he's like trying to make it so like editors have something to work with. So he's like giving them sad boy right now so that like when he wins it's more satisfying. He's trying to like win the championship but also provide like a good movie storyline.
I gotta be honest, his fan base kind of sucked after he won because I was like, all of your content is boring now. These Lando edits, lame, boring. He's so sadcore coded, and that's like what his fans have branded him to be. Like, what happens when we stop seeing him sad? Then what?
No, that's so true. That's so true. That's how I feel about Charles too. It's like, now what? Now what?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that maybe that's what it is. Okay. What else do we want to talk about in F1? Maybe that's
This was another race that I watched with my dad, brother, and grandpa. And when the crash happened, because my dad was very much being like, they're really close to each other. Do you think they're ever going to race? And I was like, no, those are the papaya cars. They're not going to race. They're in the lead for the championship. And then they started to race a little bit, and the accident happened. And my dad really just wanted to be the opposite in the room, and he kept going, no, I think that guy in the front moved in on him. And I was like, Dad, we've seen the replay. And he's like, no, Lando, I think, was fine. I was like,
I love a good contrarian. He's like, I've seen all the evidence, and I've decided my feelings don't care about your facts. So
yeah, exactly.
I also, I wonder, this is the fun thing about us filming on a Tuesday too, is that we've gotten to see the TikTok discourse move. And the new discourse I'm seeing is that they should have let Lando pass Oscar. Like the team should have ordered him to pass him because he was faster, which I do think he was probably faster than Oscar. But I do think it's funny that we always come back to this. Like somehow with McLaren, we can never just like be like, well, actually the car in front can continue to stay in front if they race as such. But if the car behind is faster, then they should go in front of them via racing. How is that a hard concept? I don't really know.
Maybe they should have team ordered them. How far away were they from? They were 4th and 5th at the time of the incident.
Yeah, do we give a they're going to win the Constructors Championship, guys. They don't need to get points for the Constructors Championship. There's
They
no...
could have gotten a pody, which would have been a sick little trophy. You don't think about the materialistic side of things. That's so messed up.
They should have team ordered it so that they could get the smallest trophy.
Yeah, Andrea, a small trophy is much bigger than a no trophy. I think there was a while where I was like, because Lando kept coming on the radio, I was like, is he gonna ask to swap places?
No.
And I was kind of, well, and once again, I kind of don't give a fuck about any of these teams.
You?
I mean,
Don't say this.
Could not care less about
who you are.
Any of these teams, but it did kind of occur to me where I was like, it seems very McLaren to tell them to race, and it just never happened. And then my next thought was, so are we going to let Lando decide on his own to race? And I think that is much worse than had they just said, let him by, and if you can catch up to him, then we'll talk about it then. But now that they didn't do team orders, how many cars finished, Andrea?
Enough that they're still going to win the Constructors Championship.
This
isn't who you are, MJ.
This is absolutely who I am.
I'm looking at somebody I don't recognize. She just said papaya rules them, motherfuckers.
That's not what papaya rules is. Papaya rules is race with rules of engagement. They did papaya rules, and you saw how it fucking worked out? Their papaya rules racing with rules of engagement, they crashed out. It didn't work. I think... I don't understand why they didn't...
The thing is that they wouldn't have crashed out if Lando was good at not running into walls.
They wouldn't have crashed out if Oscar wasn't in front of Lando. They wouldn't have crashed out if they weren't in Canada. Like, what do you want me to do about it? I'm just saying it would have made more sense for McLaren to just, like, step up and make a fucking decision and be like, either tell Lando, don't...
Go for it.
This isn't worth it. Or tell him, like, be like, hey, are we considering switching? By the time he made his moves, he wasn't going to catch up to the person in front of Oscar anyways. But it's like, we could have had this conversation 4 laps before, and also we could have finished with 2 cars.
Yeah, but we have a podcast to film, so it's good that they crashed, probably. Gives us something to talk about.
It did. I didn't open my third eye, because now I'm a Lando okayist.
I'm a Lando needs to work on spatial awareness.
And as a girly who can only see out of one eye, I also don't have spatial awareness. So how can I even be mad at him?
Spatial awareness. As somebody who's hit the side of a Costco parking garage twice on 2 separate occasions, but in the same place, I understand how the wall's coming at you fast.
Look, sometimes the walls ain't there and then they is, you know? Ancient proverb.
Okay, what's going on with NASCAR? What's going on with Days of Thunder 2 Sad Face?
Oh my god, they're making a Days of Thunder 2.
Is that actually happening?
Yeah, our friend Jeff Gordon, he said, no, our other friend Jeff. He said that it's in the...
of the pod.
Yeah. It's in the works with Tom Cruise. And
He's gonna be in it?
Jeff Gordon?
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he's Dick Trickle. That's not his name. Dick Trickle was a real guy. What's the guy's name? Dick Trickle wasn't a real guy? What's the...
Let's move off Dick Trickle.
No. Dick Trickle is a real man.
Why do these old men think that we think that they can be race car drivers?
Oh, he was Cole Trickle.
Not good either. Trickle's just a rancid last name.
It's a rough. That's a rough last name, and he acted like a Cole Trickle too. I think they just don't. Here's the thing: in America, we're not allowing our elderly to retire early enough, and so they just keep working. And I think Tom Cruise is a great example of someone who it's like, shouldn't you be in a home by now? And not jumping out of planes or leading Scientology. But he's like, no, actually, I want to be Cole Trickle and I want to run into other drivers. It's a crazy movie. You have to watch it. From what I've heard about the F1 movie, they're very, very similar. And I hope that my distaste for Days of Thunder will soon be your distaste for Days of Thunder.
But what if they improve? Are they going to be in the next gen cars in Days of Thunder 2?
I hope. You know what would be crazy? I hope
wait, hold on. I know what the plot is. The whole plot of Days of Thunder 2 is that they're in the next gen cars and they're just complaining about how short track racing is ruined.
And they're just talking about, they're going, the season doesn't matter anyways because we have fucking playoffs. That's the whole thing. And then he's jumping out of a plane into like Bill France's office. I'm assuming so.
Probably.
And he's like stealing the declaration of like the NASCAR playoffs and getting rid of it. And then like it's like
is suing them for the charter agreement.
Oh my god, what if Days of Thunder 2 is just about the charter agreement? They're just in court the whole time and it's like NCIS.
Wait. I've written the movie. Everyone hold up. Cole Trickle is an ex-NASCAR driver who now owns a team. And this team, he owns it with Michael Jordan. He's in this movie as well. And he gets presented a charter agreement by the German family, not the France family. It's the German family. Bill German. And he goes, I hate this charter agreement. And then they go to court.
I think you're onto something.
Okay. I love Michael Jordan has to be there in this one too, though.
Sure.
It's like he can throw like it's like a Space Jam sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Race Jam.
Maybe Race Jam. Days of Thunder 2, Race Jam.
In space. And also the courthouse.
Because there's one thing we love is breaking the rules of gravity but following the rule of law.
Can you believe we made people wait 2 extra days for this?
We've really been thinking on stuff. Anyways, Connor Zillich, my son, he got pole for Xfinity, and this is a delightful fact brought to you by MJ, the youngest driver to reach 5 poles in history. And just be afraid, guys. He's really fucking good at this NASCAR thing.
Unfortunately, his Xfinity race didn't go the way we wanted it to. He did get.
Can we talk about it?
Yeah.
It was literally like organized crime. Like literally every single person on the first lap was like, literally like, let's just take out Connor Zillich.
It was bumper cars.
Like,
it truly was.
Is this fucking allowed? Is this allowed? And I'm gonna be honest. Perpetrator number 1 was Ty Gibbs. He literally started that shit off, and he was like, oh, okay, so we just got to take Connor out, and then we can win? Cool, I'll do that. Yeah, you know it, too. You know it. But he got his karma later on. He was going to win the Xfinity race, and then he didn't. He got smashed, along with, like, literally half the field. And who was driving away while half the field was getting smashed? None other than hometown hero Daniel Suarez.
After a nasty wreck in qualifying, was it? Yeah. So he started at the back, and we were joking. We were like, wouldn't it be sick, like a back to front win? And then he did that. So he was just like listening. Bless. It was really cool though. Like you could hear the crowd on the broadcast absolutely losing their mind. And then when he got out of the car, maybe one of the best like celebrations I've ever seen, because he just like reveled in it. He was up there, he was hugging his wife, he was standing on top of the car, like praising the audience. He did kind of a knee slam with a piñata and then like broke it apart and candy flew out. Truly magical.
I think there is something worth noting. I don't think any other team does this. At Trackhouse, it seems that you're required to have a signature celebration, which I think is quite funny.
Yeah. They have like little toys for them to like do something with. Well, I was wondering if it was Trackhouse or if it was NASCAR, but then I was like, does NASCAR have like a different, not NASCAR, like specifically like the Mexico race, but then I was like, how many different like toys would they have to have?
No, I think it's Trackhouse. Like, they have Ross with the watermelon, they have Daniel with the piñata, and then they have SVG with the
rugby ball.
Rugby ball. Is it a ball? Is that what we call it? Rugby ball?
Yeah.
It's a little clunky. Okay. I think it's a Trackhouse thing. I think that they do it to, like, I wonder if it's like a marketing, like, we need, like, you guys all to have, like, a little thing.
I like it.
A little bit.
I thought it was fun.
It. I think everybody needs a signature celebration. So this brought about two controversies. One of them was, speaking of celebrations, they had a podium celebration for both the Xfinity and the Cup race. And obviously, if you don't watch NASCAR, you wouldn't know because it's like common in all other motorsports. But it's normally just the winner gets to celebrate. In Mexico City, they had the second and third place go up there and they sprayed champagne with little sombreros on. I think that I've never seen so many people so mad about this podium celebration. Like, whatever you think a reaction would be to seeing a podium celebration, triple it. That's what I was seeing on TikTok. What do you think?
I liked the podium celebration, and it sounded like a lot of the drivers liked it too. I don't want a podium celebration at every race, but I don't mind it at like street and road courses because I feel like it's more fitting there. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see it at every race, but I wasn't definitely not mad at it. Also, the fact that we have this one podium celebration and suddenly all of like the old heads in NASCAR were like, well, we don't want it at every race now. Well, don't do it at every race. And it's like, baby girl, stop. That was actually never in the plan.
Nobody said that was
those demons are solely from inside your head.
I saw one guy. He's like my new, like everybody's like making fun of the like I'm a read about NASCAR guy. My new favorite guy is the guy I found with 5 likes on TikTok and 20 views. That was like, first it's podium celebrations, next it's electric vehicles. NASCAR is dead.
Dude.
And I literally was like, it was never that serious. I can't stress enough, never that serious.
It is like, part of me does really enjoy those reactions though, because it's like, you are a caricature of what people think NASCAR fans are, and it's like cool to see one like working in person.
Yeah,
it's like watching a guy on stilts walk by you. It's like, well, it's like odd that you're here, but like keep doing your thing. You know what?
Yeah, you got a talent, you got a gift. Keep working on it. You know what I mean?
Shape
Making
it.
Inflammatory reactions to the smallest things in NASCAR. You got a gift. You know what I mean? I wasn't even thinking about electric vehicles when I saw that podium celebration, but it's great that you were.
No, I've like diagnosed with like anxiety, and I wasn't even stressing about that. So hell yeah, brother, right on.
keep that noggin working. You know what I mean? You think of everything. The other thing was that it was actually rigged. So Daniel Suarez winning the Xfinity race, it was too good of a story, so it was actually rigged.
Yeah.
Something that I struggle with, and I think it's just because I don't have a conspiracy-minded brain, is that how would you even pull that off? Like, what would be the conspiracy? That they would have to tell all the other drivers to wreck and then let Daniel through?
Yeah.
Wouldn't a lot of people have to know about the conspiracy? Like, surely it would get out. Like, Jeff Gluck would hear something about this conspiracy.
Surely. But actually, the reason you didn't hear about it is because they were transmitting the plan through 5G. The radio...
vaccine had it. The vaccine had the plans.
Notice how everyone who was vaccinated moved out of the way for Daniel Suarez? Interesting. It's interesting, isn't it?
The woke-minded Ty Gibbs was not going down without a fight.
I think people were just trying to find a way to be, like, racist without, like, being racist, and they were like, no, it was probably rigged. And it was like, no, like, how is it, was his crash rigged? I truly think that's what it was.
I think that it's like people who just don't have an imagination. And it's like, yeah, sometimes sports has this like beautiful storyline that can happen. And that's the beauty of sports.
Mr. Ross Chastain did it weeks ago. Ross Chastain did it weeks ago. And not a single person said, watermelon guy? It was rigged. But then suddenly Daniel Suarez in his home country in front of his home crowd, it's rigged. First of all, it was an Xfinity race. And also I saw you bitching about a No. I saw all of you bitching about a Cup driver going down and beating up the little kids in the Xfinity, but when Kyle Larson does it, you all get fucking wet in your pants. Are you shitting me right now?
We've been talking about this for weeks, and we were told to shut our mouths.
You don't get to play this side.
We were literally like, hey, does anybody else think it's weird that Cup drivers just go down and win an Xfinity race because they can, and then it takes away from the Xfinity championship because it's like they just came over here and won the race and took points away from an actual Xfinity driver and like blah, blah, blah. We did that whole thing, actually, and you guys said you liked it.
And you go, nah, it's good to teach those spoiled brats a lesson. But then
Kyle Larson's gonna embarrass those kids. He's gonna teach them how to do real
Let him
racing.
embarrass those kids. And then get Max Verstappen over here and he'll embarrass him too. It's like, you guys sound stupid and I think you're being racist. That's it.
I know you're being racist. I know you're being. I'll do you one better. I know you are.
Yeah, it's like,
prove me.
It was also like
wrong.
You can watch him.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, you can watch him. You can watch him race all the cars. Like, it's not like they didn't get out of the way for him. In fact, they didn't cut the shit out of him. We watched it all fucking live. You're driving me nuts. You guys are driving me nuts.
I honestly, this is a challenge. If you think it was rigged, tell me how they rigged it. Tell me exactly how they rigged it. Tell me how they pulled that off logistically. Tell me how they convinced all the other Xfinity teams to be okay with a rigged result. Tell me how it was rigged specifically.
And also, just to like, why rig the Xfinity race then? When Daniel Suarez was starting from the back, when we could have rigged the Cup one when he had a much better starting position. And he led some of the laps, why not rig that one too? You don't want to be too obvious. He'd never beat Shane Van Gisbergen, who doesn't even deserve to be in the playoff. You're driving me nuts. You guys are driving me nuts.
Okay, there's a couple things that we can get out of the way after the Xfinity race so we can talk about the Shane Van Gisbergen thing. Plane issues, it delayed the travel. Denny Hamlin replaced by Ryan Truex. Why does Ryan Truex look like Denny Hamlin in the car?
Crazy.
I don't know. We'll have to figure that one out.
Crazy.
That's rigged. Keep an eye on that. Conspiracy theorists, keep an eye on that. Why does he look like Denny when he was in that car? I don't know. Alex Bowman was on. This is like something that me and MJ are a little confused about, so maybe you guys can offer some insight in the comments. Alex Bowman was like kind of iffy. He had pretty bad back pain from his hit last week, and so they had Anthony Alfredo on standby as his like replacement. And you might be wondering, Anthony Alfredo, who's that? Well, he's this guy in Xfinity that like just races in Xfinity, but he doesn't like win in Xfinity. He's just like there in Xfinity. He's not like. He's just like mid, like with love. Like I like him. I like the guy. He's not like extraordinarily in Xfinity. Why is it reserve drivers for NASCAR are people like Ryan Truex with love and Anthony Alfredo with love, and not like people that are in Xfinity that are like potentially going to be Cup drivers that could be signed on as like reserve drivers in the case of this happening and have like this like developmental pipeline from. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I can imagine, like, Trackhouse kind of does this with, like, Connor. Like, I could imagine if, like, one of the Trackhouse drivers was unable to drive this weekend, they probably would have put Connor in. Because he's kind of, like, their, like, developmental driver clearly on, like, a pipeline from one. So, like, why do we not have, like, I don't know, like, Austin Hill or, like, Jesse Love or, like people that are, like, stars of Xfinity going and being reserve drivers? Why is it just, like, randoms? If you guys can answer that, me and MJ were like, what's going on there?
Have you ever noticed that the little, I don't know what they're called. It's like the lollipop in F1 that they like drop down. That Anthony Alfredo's is him eating pasta.
I haven't noticed that, MJ. That's so cool.
I assume it's his because he's the only one. It's like him with like two forks, like just fucking chowing down on some pasta. And I was like, I think that's my man Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, he seems fun. Tony Alfredo is like a crazy name, I have to say. Like, to go by Tony Alfredo, it's like, where did you come from, buddy? Like, that is a crazy name with love. Okay. NASCAR put tire packs on the sides of the S's to deter. Is that like the straight up like thing that they have? Mm-hmm.
They just had like little packs of tires that were all bundled up, which was interesting because they were talking to some of the drivers, and Bubba's like, "No, it's It's a good idea because I think a lot of us would just go over them. And then they were also talking to Chase Elliott, and he was talking about his experience like doing the sim for there.
Mm-hmm.
And he said like the first few times he did it, he like, found opportunities where he could find opportunities. And then when he realized it may be a reality that there would be a physical deterrent there, he's like, I had to kind of figure things out differently.
Yeah.
So, but that was a major gripe that we had for Coda, where they were just, goofing around with the track limits, not really, forging their own paths, let's say. And so they fixed it. So kudos to NASCAR.
Wow, fixing things based on feedback. That's crazy. Okay, so let's get to the race. I just want to talk about SVG, okay? While we're ranting.
Okay.
So SVG wins by 16 seconds, and a lot of people are like, again, kind of talking in this like conspiracy mind. They're saying this was Trackhouse's plan all along. They signed SVG knowing he would win road courses and get a spot in the playoffs for the team. And this was like, they knew he wasn't going to do good at ovals. They have this big conspiracy. And I think I'm just like struggling to understand like what would the alternative be? Like, I also, if I owned a team, would probably sign somebody who does good at road courses because we have like a good amount of them on the calendar now. And maybe he only wins one. Maybe he wins all of them. I think there's like 5 or 6. I mean, like maybe he wins all 5 or 6. That would be fun. Either way, he would then be a driver getting wins for my team, thus getting into the playoffs. And people say, well, it's not fair you can get on the playoffs by just winning one race. Okay, well, like, I mean, you could say that for like Josh Berry is in the playoffs by winning just probably one race this season. Womp womp? I'm sorry, I don't know. Like, what is the conspiracy here? Like that they signed a talented driver to win a race that they would like to win?
We're suddenly upset when it's Shane. Is just like the weird part. It's like I understand being upset with the playoffs, but this is the first time we've had this conversation this season. Also, if Kyle Busch had won this, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You'd be like, "Yeah, hell yeah, Kyle Busch, you deserve a spot."
Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, all these people that need wins
are better in the points. Like Shane is down low in the points, sure, but like
now he's not. He won.
Well, yeah. Well, no, he's still 30th in the points, but bless his heart. It's just like, why are we having this conversation again?
It's like why about street courses. If somebody were to get a lucky win on a Atlanta, nobody cares.
No.
And the same thing, like when we go to like these races, like Daytona or Atlanta, where half the fucking field wrecks out in the big one and some rando that like pushes their way through wins the race on the last lap, that's seen as a legitimate win for some reason. But then when Shane comes and dog walks everybody on a race, like a road course, then it's like not legitimate anymore. It's only legitimate if you do it on an oval.
It just doesn't make sense. Like last year, didn't Alex Bowman win to get in at a road course?
Chicago.
And we didn't know. Did we have this conversation then? I don't know. It's tired, and I think you guys are being racist against New Zealanders.
Yeah, they kept calling him Australian, and that's not true. Bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
So, like, I will say it was mainly Dale Jr., but there were a couple other people that were slipping up. I think I caught Carl Edwards, like, insinuating he was Australian at one point, and I was like, not quite. The other one.
He did. It is confusing because he did do Australian supercars. But New Zealand, guys, you're embarrassing us. We are now becoming caricatures of what people think NASCAR fans are. We've seen a map before.
I don't know. Wouldn't put it past them to not really know where New Zealand is. With love, I don't think Dale Jr. was super focused in high school.
Sure.
So shout out SVG. Good for you, buddy. Okay, Alex Bowman nearly got a podium, and Ty Gibbs did pretty well. Ty Gibbs did really well in both the Xfinity and the actual Cup race. He just kind of got unlucky with the rain tire situation. He didn't make an advantageous strategy call with getting on and off rain tires comparatively to like SVG. Kyle Larson got smacked by Kyle Busch and then just came back and started getting the fastest lap.
Yeah,
and it was funny because they were like, is he allowed to do that? It kind of sucks he's allowed to do that, huh?
I think it's fine. I think it's fair. Whatever. Let him have his fun. He's got nothing else to do right now. You gotta, like when you have problem children, it's like, well, give him an activity so that he doesn't cause any issues. That's like what they were doing with Kyle Larson.
Because he was like pretty down, pretty far down there.
42
many
laps.
Right. Yeah. Shout out Kyle Busch, though, for going ahead and just making sure that we weren't going to have any issues with Kyle Larson maybe winning this race, because I don't think I could have dealt with the Kyle Larson win in Mexico City. I don't think it would have sat right in my soul. I don't think it would have sat right in my soul.
Now, that could have been a rig. Maybe NASCAR was like, hey, we can't have this fucking guy. We can't have him with Busch. What are you doing?
About? All right, who's up? You're going to have to do it, Busch. And then we had the wonderful Christopher Bell and the delightful Chase Elliott joining SVG on their little podium.
And bless their hearts, they did not know how to do the champagne thing. I think Christopher Bell was the one who figured it out, but they were struggling. Like, Chase Elliott posted on his TikTok, and it's just him, like, clearly fumbling around with it. And his, like, caption was like, don't mind us, we're new here.
Yeah, I don't know. And they gave him very, like, wimpy bottles of champagne, I will say. Like, they were very small, and they didn't have a lot of fizz to them. They gotta give them, like, the big boys if you want, like, a true champagne spray. Trigger warning, Cole Custer was there, and he also had a good race. Apparently he's kind of good at street courses. They kind of slipped that in there, that, like, he has done well on street courses before, and I was like, is that
Sure he has.
Signed? He was signed for his strength in street
You're
courses.
telling me he's a street course merchant? That's what you're going to look me in the eyeballs and say that Cole Custer is a merchant of street and road courses? You're going to look me in the eyeball and say that? No. Deflammatory.
And we also found out he's been a Nepo baby this whole time. He snuck by us when we were figuring out the Nepo baby situation. But apparently, his dad owns the company, or president of the company or something. I don't really know what job titles are in corporate world, but he's president of the company, and that's why he has a seat. Haha, Nepo baby. So this is where we're going to get into some controversy. And we can talk about maybe, like, the general vibe around going into Mexico City. There was a lot of complaints, okay? There was a lot of people whining and bitching in NASCAR. So one of them was Carson Hocevar. Carson Hocevar went on his Twitch stream, and he generally was saying just, like, they can't even leave their hotels. They're on, like, lockdown. And, like, it's not safe there. And it's, like, a shithole, I think is what he said.
Yeah, he called it a shithole.
Crazy thing to say about a country you've never been to. And we're not the only ones that think that, because he then had to, he might have done it on his own fruition. He released an apology. Basically, his apology was like, I'm a dumbass. I shouldn't have said that. I've literally never been out of the country until this week. I don't even know why the fuck I'm speaking on shit I clearly don't know about. I had a great time at the Mexico City race. Everybody I met there was extremely nice, and the fans were really great. And I'm sorry for being a dumb fucking idiot head. Mm-hmm. Spire, however, what was Spire's response to this?
Spire was pissed, and this was just put out, like, minutes before we started recording. But Spire was so upset with his comments that they fined him $50,000, and those $50,000 are going to be split between 3 different, like, organizations that help just, like, the Mexican community. I don't remember what they were. And he also has to go to sensitivity training, and that was in a public statement that they put out. So, yeah. And good on them. I don't think we see any efforts like that from any other team.
Yeah. I think it was good that Carson walked back his statements and admitted that he was wrong without really Spire, like, before the Spire shit happened, because it, like, makes me think that he genuinely was wrong. Like, he felt wrong about what he said. I think the thing about Carson is that, like, I think he's repeating a lot of what he heard. If he'd never been out of the country, then, yeah, he doesn't actually know shit about Mexico. He's just repeating what he's hearing about Mexico. And some of the stuff he wrote about in his or just talked about in Twitch was like the travel, getting from Michigan to Mexico City. I can imagine he heard that bitching and whining from the people that work on the teams that have to like do all of the travel logistics. The stuff about like it being like a lockdown in their hotel. This is actually something that we also saw a much more horrendously worded tweet from Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s spotter, I believe. And I think it's because, and me and MJ were kind of talking about this. They were clearly all staying in like the same hotel. NASCAR put them all in the same hotel. And they're in like a large metropolitan area. And they're actually celebrities in Mexico City. People actually were like swarming the drivers. Like
they were
excited
swarming
to see
Todd
them.
Gilliland. He had to have security to get Todd. So they're a big deal in Mexico. And they're not really celebrities in America. So no offense.
Yeah, like they can, like, so I imagine when they're at a race in fucking, like, I don't know, Michigan Speedway, they can fuck around, go grab some snacks from the 7-Eleven, do whatever they want. Nobody cares. Yeah. But in Mexico City, they probably were like, hey, everybody knows that you guys are at this hotel. There's people like outside of the hotel waiting to fucking swarm you guys. That's a security risk. Also, no matter where you are in the world, Mexico City or elsewhere, you have a hotel full of a bunch of fucking people like NASCAR personnel and stuff. It's a great target for like a robbery or something like that. It's not hard for people to figure out that you're there. That's everywhere. That's not just Mexico City. And just like the difference is that usually at like races and stuff in the US, you guys are staying at like your own fucking trailers in the infield. But here you guys are all in one hotel. That is a target. That is a security concern. They're not going to let you just wander wherever the fuck you want. So I think that it's like these perceptions of like the security that they gave them, meaning that somehow Mexico is unsafe. And it's like, I think you could say that a lot of places NASCAR races are unsafe. You're just normally sheltered from them. You just don't notice the security that you have when you're like in your own fucking motorhome in the infield of the fucking track versus at a hotel in Mexico City. And I think that overall, the people that went to Mexico City had a great time. They echo Carson's sentiments of like the fans were fucking amazing. I will admit I teared up a little bit listening to the teardown today because Jeff Gluck was talking about like their tweet up that they had, and he was like talking about how he met people that had been watching NASCAR Cup Series for decades and had never been to a Cup Series race because there was never one in Mexico, and they like weren't going to be able to travel to the US to see these races. And he was talking about people that took like 13-hour bus rides from southern Mexico to come to Mexico City to watch this race. Damn. And they were like, we'll do it every year if you guys come back here. Like, I don't think people even realize that there's so many dedicated NASCAR fans in Mexico, but like they're fucking not kidding around. They love NASCAR. They love all of the drivers. He was talking about like people that had like homemade Denny Hamlin shirts, and they were like, it sucks he's not here, but we still love NASCAR and we're like excited to be here. And he was kind of just talking about something that I felt, which was like, just in light of everything like that has been happening in politics surrounding Mexico, I think it was like really great to see so many people go to Mexico City, have a great time, come back and say what a great time they had. And I hope NASCAR continues to go back.
I agree. I think they'll go back. Something I did kind of hear about was that it seemed like the Mexico track I guess it was the track, maybe it was NASCAR, no, I don't know, kind of overpriced the tickets. They were more on the verge of like F1 tickets versus like what you would pay for a typical NASCAR ticket, which is why we saw some of the stands not as full. But also, if people are willing to pay close to F1 prices to go see NASCAR, then
they're just,
I feel like you're kind of, I don't know. I think they should go back, make the tickets more reasonably priced.
Yeah, kick them down a little bit. You know, kick them down one notch from where you're at, and you'd probably have completely full stands.
Yeah, absolutely. Even in the rain. It was raining.
And you know what I also walked away with? Damn, do we need a fucking IndyCar race there?
It would be sick. It would be so sick. Imagine the IndyCars going through the stadium.
And imagine, like, the fans, how they feel about Todd Gilliland. Now imagine them doing that, but for Stingray Robb.
They're doing that for Graham Rahal.
That's what we need in IndyCar.
That's what Graham Rahal needs. He needs something.
He needs that. He needs that really bad. One more thing before we move on to IndyCar. We have a Fun Pop Boy continuously threatening the life of Carson, as if Carson wasn't already fucking on the struggle bus enough. He now has threatened violence while he's in his car.
I'm gonna beat your ass when we get back to the States. I was like, do it now.
Do it
Do it
now.
now. You're literally, he's in there. I'm assuming his hand is just right around his throat because I couldn't see. I'm assuming that's what's happening. And he's like going, I'm gonna kick your ass when we get back to the States. I'm like, you're right there, dude. Throw a punch. This is the only time he's gonna be at your height. Might as well. Screw it.
Do it.
But I also think he didn't know how to take the fact that Carson kept going, yeah, that was my bad. Sorry about that. No, that was my bad. You're totally right.
I think he thought that Carson was gonna fight him on it. So then when he was like met with like just like a reasonable response, he was like,
Okay. Well, I'll fight you later about it. Yeah, we'll fight later about it. Yeah. I'm going to be really mad at you when we touch down in the Charlotte airport. But right now, you seem like really level-headed about it. So, like, maybe get to my level, and then we can fucking fight about it. And Carson's like, I don't want to fight. But okay,
No.
pull up, I guess.
I think Carson is the worst person to fight. He doesn't have that range of emotion, unfortunately. Like any other of those guys who've never learned how to, like, emotionally regulate, I don't know. Go after them. But it's like, no, Carson watched Miss Rachel growing up, so that's how young I think he is.
Yeah, he literally was like, you know what he was doing? He was doing like a Lando Norris a little bit. He's like, no, you're right, I am the worst. Ricky's like, no, you're the worst. He's like, no, I literally am like the worst NASCAR driver.
No, I'm such
like,
a bad driver. I'm so sorry. That was...
Yeah, he was like, I don't even know what the fuck I was doing out there. Like, I just like was like completely messing up, wasn't I, Ricky? And Ricky's like, yeah, you were. We'll talk about it later. Good. I don't know. I think Ricky is unwell, and I think that I don't like that people think it's like. I don't like how like people just go, oh yeah, Ricky's emotionally unstable and he's gonna beat the shit out of people. That's so fun and quirky. I'm like, it's not though. Like it's just somebody who's impossible to be around, who's like threatening assault on people in their workplace.
Yeah, it's weird and it's cringe and it's unprofessional and it's weird and it gives me the ick and I wish he would stop.
Yeah. It's a man who clearly doesn't know how to regulate his emotions and is probably impossible to be around in all of his relationships in his life. And that's why he's Danica Patrick's ex and not her lover.
If only. If only it would have worked out.
I know. Maybe that's what this pent-up rage is about.
He misses
He goes to
Danica.
sleep. Yeah, he goes to sleep and he just, in his head, he pictures, what were you thinking? When she'd like go up and run to Danny. What were you thinking? He's like, damn, I miss her. Anyways, IndyCar. Totally normal transition. Okay. I missed this ghost arch.
We don't have to talk
situation.
about the ghost arch. I put that on there before I told you in detail about the ghost arch. We don't have to talk about it. There's just this fun little thing Townsend Bell did.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful lead up. It was really good. They never clipped it, which I think is a disgrace. And because it's on freaking, I have to watch on YouTube TV now, I can't screen record it and make it a clip for all of you guys. So I guess you're just going to have to go watch the entire replay.
It was just
funny.
a funny thing
You
Townsend
had to be
Bell
there.
said.
Yeah, it was really good.
Okay. Big Penske weekend. No,
Yeah,
it
so
wasn't.
going into this weekend, Penske fucking dominates the shit out of this track. So we're all looking at Penske. That's what the science says. That's what the science says. And I am a woman of science, woman in STEM. So this was supposed to be a big weekend for Penske, which they really needed after literally everything that has happened to them this year. And then this is not a weekend, notably, for Andretti. They've had 38 starts here and only one podium. Both of these things are going to come into play, as you can imagine. This is what we call in the biz foreshadowing. You guys ever gotten foreshadowed before? No, I'm going.
Oh, okay.
So then qualifying was exactly what you thought, obviously.
Yeah, okay, this is good. I was going to lead us into qualifying. Thank you so much for taking it away.
No. I can read the doc. Exactly what you thought. We had our Penske's popping the fuck off. We had a Scotty Mac on pole, but wait. Will Power took pole from him by going just a little bit faster, as you do to get pole. And then we had Pato in P3, obviously. Malukas in P4. This is also lining up to be a big weekend for Malukas. I don't know if you guys remember the travesty of last year, where he was basically set to win. He had a couple podiums here before, and then Will Power took him out and then screamed at him, and he cried on television. And it was maybe the saddest thing I've ever seen.
That.
Yeah.
Why is he so good at this track?
He just is. He's really good at short ovals.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
He just is. He just freaking is. And then we have in P5 Joseph Newgarden. So you got the Penske's all starting up front, obviously. Notice how I didn't say any Andretti's. This is going to come into play later.
Is it because they're bad at it?
Famously, not great here. So we get into the race. And it is a night race. How do you feel about the night races?
Pro.
You like the night races?
Pro. Big fan.
Pro night races. Even if it's at 8 p.m. on a Sunday?
Oh, I don't like watching them, but I like the look of them.
Okay. Yeah. The sunset that happened like mid-race, I was like, this is gorgeous.
I think I actually prefer like the F1 strategy where it's like a night race wherever the fuck it's happening at, but it's like 10 a.m. for me.
Oh yeah, that would be lovely.
Can't do that here though. No. I was trying to think because
no, there's actually no way we could work that out. Sorry.
No. It's okay. Appreciate it.
So straight out the gate.
I could live on the West Coast. And it would bump it up a little bit from 8 p.m., but it would still be a night race wherever it was happening. Okay, do you want to move to California?
Sure.
Okay. I'm just trying to find solutions here. I'm a solution-oriented person.
I know you are. Yeah, we could move to... We could, okay.
You're susceptible to lip on me. I'm a
She's
solution-oriented
a solution.
person.
It works. Straight off the bat.
Can I...
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, question in the audience?
Can I skip down to one thing before Scotty Mac?
No, because it happened after Scotty Mac.
Okay, I didn't know if we were going chronological. Go ahead.
We always go chronological, except for when we don't. So, straight off the bat,
Straight off that motherfucking
Straight off that bat. We have Scotty Mac, who is supposed to be starting P2, stalling in the pit lane. And I have to be honest, my heart dropped through my butthole at that moment. I was like, this is the Indy 500 all over again. And they kept going, what if he can't get it started? Is he going to have to start from the back? I was losing my mind. However, he did get it started. Got himself out on the course. And then you can talk about the thing that you want to talk about.
Okay, so last year when I watched this race, they had the Bomarito guy. He had grid girls, and I famously said I don't like that vibe. This year, no grid girls. I will say he did give the greatest command I've heard all season for IndyCar. He's actually the only person that does good at the command, and I think he should do all of the commands. He has such a pizzazz and a flair for life, you know what I mean? Like, he really just, like, gives it his all, and I really appreciate that as an audience member. I think sometimes the commands can be very lackluster in most of the time for NASCAR and IndyCar, but especially in IndyCar. All that is to say, just like as like an extension of his flair for life and like his love of just all things extravagant, he does decide to set off like a nuclear atomic bomb on the side of the track right before the race starts. And it's like literally to the point where like in the commentary booth, they were like having to hold shit down because like the place was shaking so much. And it's just like so crazy because it's like you could do fireworks, like you could do like other more normal things, but he like literally just goes for like fire bomb.
Yeah.
Literally, I don't know how to explain it. If you didn't watch the race, it's literally a fire bomb goes off on the side of the track as the cars drive by.
Little mushrooms of smoke just flooding into the air.
They're literally mini mushroom clouds. Like, they're literally like the scariest looking things ever. And they purposely wait till the cars come near them during their formation lap so they can get good pictures.
Get them off their game.
They literally were like, we can feel the heat from the commentary booth. So like imagine these fuck ass cars that produce all this heat. You have the drivers in them with all these cars producing heat around them, and then you just set off a firebomb mushroom cloud, like 7 of them, right next to their car.
I gotta be honest, if I was
crazy.
one of the ECR cars, I'd be having a little bit of PTSD. That is also another hint of foreshadowing. And also, what is it called when you connect it to something that's already happened? A callback.
Callback, what'd you say?
Anywho.
Anyways. What is going on? It's only 9:19 p.m., by the way, guys.
This is usually the time I start tucking myself into bed, if I gotta be frank with you. But I don't. I'll be MJ for now.
I'm not editing any of this out.
You're not even gonna add like sound effects or anything in the background? It's just a bunch of every time we talk about the the flares going up, and it's just a bomb in the background. No. Maybe that's not funny to talk about right now. I'm sorry.
No,
I don't know.
we'll clip it.
Oh,
well,
great.
Now you made it, and now you just ruined it. Now I can't clip it. Now everybody's
You
gonna
just
think
said
I'm
we'll
insensitive.
clip it. You said we'll clip it, so I looked at you. I don't know. Where were we? It's so hard to tell.
Race start.
The race starts.
Right. As
in the
it
section
does.
in the section marked race start, and we immediately see David Malukas doing what we were hoping David Malukas was going to do, and he quickly gains the lead. And as many of us know, you probably don't want to gain the lead that early. You're not going to be able to maintain it. However, he did get like a 4-second lead on Willpower, which was sicko mode. And then we have our first. Yes, the audience. Yep.
There was actually somebody else who was also going mad sicko mode during the race start. He's actually a god, I would say, probably, of oval racing, and maybe a merchant. Is that what the kids say? An oval
That's what the kids are saying, yeah.
Perhaps. Connor Daly, not only a great podcast host, also a great IndyCar driver. You put in here he is up 9th from 15th. I can't express enough. He was doing like a Colton Herta driving like he's in a fucking video game. He literally was putting the moves
it was
on these
sick.
bitches.
And he posted some of his onboard to his YouTube channel. I highly recommend going to watch it.
Insane.
I don't know how he has an onboard camera. It was really sad. The commentators were
He's
talking
got
like,
money
I
now.
wish all these. Think they're finally paying him for racing an IndyCar. God bless. The war is over. But definitely go check that out. At this time, we do get a yellow for Devlin DeFrancesco, which led to this cute little cringe. Well, it was only cringe because of the happenings. Side plot where we just get a little view of Devlin just like sprinting through the track, and they don't address it for too long.
Little box on the top.
A little box.
Of
And
your
then
screen.
finally they're like, oh, actually, it sounds like they were able to fix Devlin's car. He's going to be able to get back in. And around this time, we can tell that Devlin has stopped in his tracks from where he was running, and the cameraman had not stopped in his tracks from where he was running. So he did hit, or the cameraman collided with him. I don't know. It was just a race incident. And the cameraman did
eat shit.
face plant. Yeah.
It was like, it was so good, I thought it was staged. I'm not going to lie.
It did
I thought it was like a bit.
It had like a little bit of a, like The Office
type camera angle. Because you see his face smash into the cement. Like, his camera goes down with him, and you get like a face smash into the cement shot. And I just thought that is too good not to be planned.
It was really perfect. And he is okay. We are hearing that he is okay.
Our sources are telling.
Our sources
We're getting reports.
We're getting reports that he is okay. Bless his heart. So restart happens again, and then this is where we have the first Penske incident. Power crashes from second place. And I mean, this is the beginning of the end for Penske. But then we start to heat up with our Christian Rasmussen story. So earlier during the yellow flag, everyone raced to the pits, obviously. And if you will recall, there was a little bit of an incident with one of the ECR cars during the Indy 500 where it got a little extra crispy. It lit on fire.
Hot, hot, hot.
Yeah,
Hot, hot,
feeling
hot.
hot. So true. And we saw something similar happen with Christian, and his car lit on fire. He alleges that he didn't know it was on fire, but we heard the radio of his crew going, you're good, just keep going, as he was on fire in the pit lane. He was fine, though. But because of that, he did not fill up on fuel. I don't know where the rest of the fuel could have possibly gone. Yes? Yeah?
Do you think perhaps it went in the fire?
Well, I'll be damned. It may have.
I found it.
But
it's all burnt up.
So, yeah, that's the beginning of the Christian Rasmussen story. So he has to take an extra pit stop. We'll come back. This is a little bit of foreshadowing, all right?
Watch this space. me looking at Christian Rasmussen on the timing board. Watch this space.
And then this is where we get our next big incident. Foster gets up into the marbles. He spins down in front of Joseph Newgarden. Thankfully, they didn't put out a yellow flag. Joseph Newgarden doesn't have time to stop. And he just kind of T-bones him in, like, the most perfect way to make the car... I mean, it cartwheeled is what it did. And they were right up against the barrier between...
pit wall.
Yeah. Very scary accident. He did end up on his, like, top for a little bit. They were able to get him out of the car. He was thankfully okay. And once again, shout out to the AMR safety team who just lifted this car with pure brute strength. Someone was down, like kneeling under his car talking to him the moment he stopped.
Yeah.
Dude, I fucked so heavy with the AMR safety team. I want you guys to know so deeply. I fucked so heavy with the AMR safety team. Everybody give a shout out in the comments to the AMR safety team. I'll pause for the shouts outs. I'll pause for you guys to comment. Say how much you guys love the AMR safety team in the comments.
W's in the chat for the AMR safety team.
Hey, be sure to like and subscribe if you guys fuck with the AMR safety team.
Ring that bell if you like the AMR safety team.
Anyways, hey, be sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram at LapstopPod if you guys fuck with the AMR safety team. If you guys think you fuck with the AMR safety team as much as I do, you're wrong, but you can try to show it by showing your supports in the chat for AMR safety team.
Okay, and then we have just
back on track.
It just guys, I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
And then Joseph, he gets out and he goes to the medical center and he gets released and they say he's okay, but they do like a longing video shot of him like walking away and they
not want to speak to the media.
He doesn't want to talk to us right now.
Which I have to be honest, first of all, I didn't know they were allowed to say no. Thank heavens that they are. But also, I think as a consumer, I don't know if I want to hear from them after I've just seen a devastating...
Now I'm like, why do so many say yes?
That was kind of like Louis Foster, who, bless his freaking heart, is just having the worst go of it in his RLO. He ended up speaking with Georgia, and I was just kind of like, can't we just run him through the concussion test one more time and send him on his way? Like, I don't want to hear... He doesn't know... Frankly, he doesn't know what happened. He wasn't watching it.
They literally always are so fucking confused. They're like, I have to watch the replay before I speak on it, but I guess all I can say is I crashed my car. Like,
all I can say is I'm out now.
I literally I can't stress enough like how much we don't need this from like a journalistic perspective. It's just like not really adding to much of anything. But same with NASCAR. That extends to NASCAR as well. We don't need it. It's fine.
Then we have just like one of the most chaotic. The pit lanes here it was just a fucking mess. It seemed like we had never done a pit stop before. We don't know how to obey the rules in the pit lane, which, okay. We had, Scotty Mack was the first offender, and he comes out hot from his pit box and just, like, smacks Pato. Yeah, hot. So true, Andrea. That's a callback. She said that earlier. If you can track all the callbacks, let them know put it down in our chat box below.
No, hey, I got you. Comment down below. I know you're struggling with this one, MJ. Comment down below if you guys can name all the callbacks and the foreshadowing that we had in this IndyCar segment.
What do you think?
That's also a callback to a joke we did earlier.
Stop. They have to count them for themselves. So Scotty Mac overshoots his coming out of the pit box, just like absolutely smacks Pato. Sure, whatever. And then we have David Malukas, who does the same thing where he comes out of the pit box and instead of going to like the transition lane, which is like the innermost lane, he just goes all the way to the outside lane. We never got any explanation for why they did this, but they both got 3-place grid penalties. So on the restart, you just kind of see them like falling back.
Dude, best way to distribute penalties is publicly and with no like saying what's happening. You just literally see them pull off to the side and be like, hey, I'm going to drop all the way to the back now.
Yeah.
Bye.
It was good.
Goodbye.
And of course, seeing the Penske like slow down, I was like, oh no, another one. They've hit a second Penske. No.
Well, and you also see Christian Rasmussen drop back too.
Yeah, he got sent to the
rear because he pitted.
He pitted during yellow for emergency service, so he went to the back as well. But this restart is kind of where we see things start to shape up, because we've got Pato, we've got Connor Daly, who we've mentioned before, and then we've also got Kyle Kirkwood and Andretti, which famously isn't very good at this track. But there's no way, is there?
I feel like we said that he's bad at this track.
I guess we'll have to wait.
Wait, did you say Kyle Kirkwood? Did you say Kyle Kirkwood?
Yeah.
Is doing good? I thought he only can do street courses, though. I thought he was a street merchant.
Yeah, he's
and
the
not
king
an
of the
oval
streets,
merchant.
but wait
but
a
he's
minute.
doing good here. What do you mean?
I mean, surely it won't hold.
Well, let's see how it plays.
Let me keep reading and figure out.
Yeah. What's going down here? We gotta figure out what's going on with these Andrettis.
So we have another yellow. Malukas gets up into the barriers, and you had texted me and you're like, we didn't need a yellow for that. And I reminded her of just moments before when Louis Foster did not get a yellow and we got a Joseph Newgarden cartwheel. So maybe they didn't need the yellow, but I think it was a redemption a little bit.
Yeah, because to like be fair, he hit the wall a little bit, but then he was like fine, and then they were like, "No, you're not fine. Yellow, get to the back." And he was
they
like,
were quick
really
to call.
Fine.
Yeah, which I mean, at this point, I'd rather them call it than not. Oh, and this was the moment where we had the Scott Dixon saga. He makes a brief little appearance in our narrative today, and he stayed out, and so he put himself one lap ahead of the entire grid.
He's not gonna fuel save, is he? Is that what he was gonna do? Was Scott Dixon gonna fuel save to win a race? It's never happened.
Well, I don't know, but let's not count him out, shall we?
So true.
Is this bit funny for anybody, do you think? Do you think people are enjoying this bit?
I think I'm having fun.
Okay, well then I'll keep it going.
Okay.
And this is where the third and final standing Penske does say goodnight, retired in the pit lane peacefully, surrounded by loved ones.
They put him down. They put Scotty Mac's car down. They said, I think you've had enough for today.
Essentially, they did. And then we had a moment where Callum Ilott was leading and Felix Rosenquist was right behind him, and they had a good chance. I was like, did we let the Italians figure out ovals? Be so fucking straight with me right now. But unfortunately, they weren't able to make the fuel stretch. They had to pit. And then, oh my God, you'll never believe who's in the front again. It's Kyle Kirkwood and Andretti, who's famously not very good here. And is
this where Connor Daly and Pato had their fight?
No, that happened earlier. I just skipped it.
Okay, well, I'll go back to it then. There was one point where Pato was leading and Connor Daly literally put on the best wheel-to-wheel racing.
It was really good.
I mean this so seriously, guys. I'm seriously not exaggerating for the bit. I mean this so seriously. I was on my feet. It was the most fun I've ever had watching wheel-to-wheel racing. It was like Connor Daly is a fucking god on ovals. Why does he have to Why does he have to not win races? It bums me out. It bums me out really hard.
It's gonna happen.
I really want him to
so
win.
close to it. He's so close to it. It's like right here. It's right here. When we get to the Milwaukee Mile, he's gonna pop the fuck off. I know it. I just know it.
I hope so. And then we also had Christian Rasmussen. Things played out well for him with the fuel, offsetting the fuel, having to, come in a second time to get fuel after the fire. It ended up actually putting him on a better strategy than he was on. And he ends up getting his first podium in IndyCar.
25th to 3rd.
It was like kind of what I love about IndyCar in a way, what I also love about NASCAR, and what you just don't get in F1, which is like you cannot give up on a race because it could all come back to you and you could end up winning. Even if your car is literally on fire in the pits, you could end up coming back and getting a podium at that race. You don't see that in other racing. We're lucky to have it in IndyCar. And congratulations to Christian Rasmussen. We invested early in the Christian Rasmussen stonk. We were early investors, but good to see him up on the IndyCar podium. And Kyle Kirkwood, good at ovals now. Is he our only chance against Alex Palou? Do you think Alex Palou actually feels that Kyle Kirkwood could challenge him for a championship?
No.
Alex Palou did not do good this weekend.
No. This is the kind of oval racing that we were expecting from Alex Palou, by the way, when we all said, there's no way he's going to win at the Indy 500. This is the oval racing where it's like he still did fine, but he didn't, win.
Wait, I have this hilarious meme that I wanted to send you, but I was at work, so I had to pretend like I was at work. Sure. It was on the IndyCar Reddit, and it was, showing Louis Foster crashing into Joseph. And it was rookie hits the wall, person leading the race gets hit, and then who the fuck is sneaking by?
God!
It literally says, this Spanish motherfucker is sneaking on by. And I was like, dude, he's fucking sneaky. What is his problem? Why was he not taken out by Louis Foster? No offense, I didn't want him to, but what the fuck is his problem?
He's sneaky. He's very sneaky on his ovals, which is why you didn't see him a lot of the time. Not just because he was far back.
And he also was green, and I wasn't really looking out for green. I don't like him when he's not red and yellow.
In the ridge
He has
line?
to be red and he has to be in the DHL livery, or else I don't see him.
That's fair. And then Pato got second also.
Oh, can we talk again, just one more time, as if we don't talk enough? This man is such a bad second place getter. He's so bad at getting second place.
Which is crazy because he's done it so many times by now.
He does it a lot, but he's bad at it.
He called out Nolan on one of the restarts, which, sure, I get it. Nolan did bad, but I'm I think what's really upsetting about this is it seems so out of character for him. He seemed to be and I'm pretty sure I've already said this, but he always kind of seemed to be the champion of IndyCar. He's the face of IndyCar. And now we've got clips of him saying that he hates Detroit, saying that Marcus Ericsson sucks, kind of saying that Nolan Siegel screwed him out of a win. It's I don't know. It just feels really odd from him.
And if you're a Pato fan and you're hearing us saying this and you think we're just being haters, I didn't get a chance to say this last time we talked about this, but that clip of him talking about how much he hates Detroit, my husband, who does not watch IndyCar at all, he sent me this video and he goes, is this Pato from IndyCar? And it was on a Detroit Sport Instagram page with a lot of fucking followers. And it's the video of Pato just saying I hate Detroit or whatever. The comments were I've never seen IndyCar before, but maybe this guy just needs to learn how to fucking drive better and all this stuff. All these hater comments and stuff. This is people's first impression of IndyCar in a city that they race in. This is a Detroit sports page. So these are sports fans in Detroit seeing Pato and being this guy fucking sucks. He's such a dick for no reason. We know that he's not a dick for no reason. So it's why is he doing that?
It's not the look you want when you're in, IndyCar's in, a vulnerable time right now because they're, actively trying to maintain the growing audience that they're reaching right now. And they have chosen Pato to be the face of IndyCar. They have gone out of their way and chosen him. So when you're hey, isn't that the guy from the commercials saying all these things? I don't know, it's disheartening. And I don't understand why he's doing it because it truly, truly, truly seems so out of character for him. I wonder if things are just not going well at Aero McLaren. I know Nolan's been having a lot of issues. Some of them not
Self-inflicted.
Some of them he did have issues, but like sometimes you just get taken out by Scotty Mac and there ain't nothing you can do about it. I don't know.
I know how we can turn this around. IndyCar, are you listening? I know how we can turn this around. You've decided Pato's the face of your sport, and he's clearly cranky. I know one thing that would make him feel better. A 2026 race in Mexico City. Perhaps? Maybe the weekend after Arlington? They could go from Arlington to Mexico City.
Mexico?
Be a pretty easy travel.
Knowing them,
Better
they would
than
be like,
Michigan.
let's go to Iowa and then go to Mexico City.
Yeah. Yeah, NASCAR. Let's go to Michigan and then Mexico City and then back up to Pocono. That's good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it could solve their problem.
I agree. But we do have a little bit of a championship battle now. I think we're looking at it. We're looking at it a little bit more. We've got Alex Palou, and I'm gonna say these numbers, and you're gonna be like, "No, we're not really looking at it." But just hold my hand as I say this. We've got Alex Palou at 333 points. All right, and then we've got Pato O'Ward at 262 points, and now Kirkwood with his most recent win at 260 points. And if you consider the fact that a win is 50 points, and maybe
good amount of points.
I don't know. It's less case closed than it was.
Palou DNFs.
Maybe.
Not that I'm wishing it, but it's very likely.
He DNF'd at Iowa last year. Right in front of me. It was crazy. He smacked the wall. But yeah. Also, I just wanted to shout out our recent Oval merchant, Robert Schwartzman, who did get a top 10.
How does he do it? What is his problem? How did he decide to be good at ovals? What's going on there?
I don't know. I don't know. It's endearing. I'm happy for him.
Okay. What's in our other section for this week?
Oh, I just wanted to shout out that Catherine Legg, who did the Cup race at Mexico, also IndyCar driver, she will be competing in Pikes Peak again this weekend, sorry. On June 22nd, which you can watch on Racer Plus. Pikes Peak is a really fun event. It's very fun. I think it's free to watch, but I don't know.
Racer Plus.
Important to keep an eye on Catherine Legg, in my opinion. And then also this weekend we have IMSA at Watkins Glen on Sunday from 12:10 p.m. to 6:10 p.m., which I think Andrea and I are going to tune into. So maybe you'll have more of a sports car endurance racing segment. Maybe we won't, but we'll be watching.
Well, we'll watch it. You can ask us our thoughts if we don't talk about it on the show, and maybe we'll give them. Thank you guys so much for your patience once again waiting. Oh,
you want to do our NASCAR fan favorite?
Fudge and a biscuit. I would. Do you have a NASCAR fan favorite? I always go first. You have to
I
go
think
first.
so. I was trying to think more on it. I think Chase Elliott is my NASCAR fan favorite this week. I think he's won the fan vote for me. I've accepted that his face is just like that and he's not going to emote very much. I've accepted that. But he has been making an active... He has been trying to do more social media stuff, which I appreciate. I think he did a great job in Mexico. Also, he did well in the race. I feel like he's kind of been having just races to forget. So he was on the podium, which I found endearing. But also I've had so many Chase Elliott, I don't even know what you would call them. Social media... I don't know. He's been popping up a lot on my For You page, working with other brands.
Are you getting sexy Chase Elliott edits?
No, they're not even
sharing
edits.
them with the class?
No. Trust me, guys. I'll put it in our group chat. But it's more so, he worked with, is it Napa?
Yeah,
that's his sponsorship.
I've never understood what it was.
I don't know what Napa is, but they made him do a peasant job all day, a normal job like you and I do, and they had him putting boxes away and scanning them and stuff, and he was a really surprisingly good sport about it. I don't know.
I thought his little podium celebration was cute. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I agree.
My fan favorite is SVG. One, I didn't know he had like a little bit with the rugby ball, I'm going to be honest. I thought that was fun. He apparently was very sick on the day of the race, and his first words after getting out of the car was that he had it coming out of both ends, or both holes.
He was leaking out of both holes.
Right. And I just think that that's like a really intriguing thing to say on the mic. Like, I just think like that's super intriguing to me. I think that we have something delightful about the fact that he just like apparently called Max Verstappen to ask him how to drive in the rain. And I was like, surely you know how to drive in the rain. And he was like, turns out I'm bad at the rain, so I don't really know what happened here. And then he went on the little post-race show and he poured Red Bull into his beer. And I just thought that was intriguing. He just intrigues me. I look at SVG and I go, what's cooking up there in that noggin? What? Is SVG outside your window?
Do you think that's where my window is?
I don't want to pretend like I know how your room is set up.
I was looking at the calendar because next weekend is the weekend before we have all the supercars drivers racing in Chicago. So maybe next weekend we could do a little supercar segment. Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to talk to our producer.
I'm the producer. I say go for it. I will say I'm really sad because next week is our last week with the Prime coverage. I'm really, really sad about it. I'm really depressed. I don't even know who the commentators are for TNT. I don't even know if I care to find out.
Are we going to
it's just
TNT?
Not gonna be Prime.
It feels like I'm a kid in a divorce, and every weekend it's like I don't know who has custody. Where am I going?
I gotta pack up my fucking suitcase and just.
It's like I really want to stay at Dad's house. I don't want to go to.
And by Dad's house, I mean the post-race show with Carl Edwards, Corey LaJoy, and Dale Jr.
I really want to stay with Dad's.
I like it here more. No, Dads have fun.
Please.
I don't even know who the commentators are at TNT. Who are they?
I didn't know we were going to TNT.
That's what I think.
TNT NASCAR broadcasting. I'm not even the first one searching this. Oh, wait. Hold on. TNT officially announced its NASCAR commentary team, Adam Alexander, alongside color commentators Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Steve Letarte.
Whoa!
Okay.
Wait, our dads are coming with us? Dad's coming to Mom's house. Dad's coming to Mom's house. We're getting back together.
We're parent trapping them.
We're going to be a family again.
Wait, and also, I loved the Prime coverage this week, having Steve Letarte there as a crew chief, talking about, like, strategy calls and stuff related to, like, the rain tires, back to the non-rain tires, back to the rain tires. Oh, okay. I'm going to miss Carl Edwards and Corey LaJoy, though. I hope they find other jobs.
They have podcasts.
Well, I don't think Carl Edwards has a podcast. What's he going to do? Carl, you can come on ours.
Yeah, we could.
Carl, come on ours.
We could put another box out here.
Carl, please come join us. Wait, guys, someday Lap Traffic featuring Carl Edwards. That's the dream. I want to ask him about that romance novel.
I wonder if he has to have co-signed it. Or like,
dude, they put his name on the cover.
He was in the book. He was literally in the book. He had a role in the book, and he was Carl Edwards. It wasn't like, I don't know. That's something we're gonna have to dive into.
We'll ask him about it on Lap Traffic, guys. If you guys have any contacts with Carl Edwards,
put him in the comments below. In the chat.
Hey, drop Carl Edwards' email in the comments if you guys have it.
Let us know where Carl Edwards.
Maybe his phone number or his home address will also do. We can write him a letter.
That's a joke.
Just drop it in the comments.
That's a joke. This is a joke. This is a bit. This is a joke. Don't do that.
It's a callback. You guys wouldn't get it. If you're coming in just right now because somebody clipped that and put it on the internet, it was out of context. I got fake news. Anyways, we're rounding this off at a crisp and cool 2 hours. So unless you have anything else to say, we can wrap it up.
We're so close to 2 hours, though. Can we just vamp for a minute? Just like, hey guys, what's up? Podcast will be out at a normal time next week.
if you ordered a hat, the hats are on their way to me, and then I'm going to send the hats to you. And I will send you guys updates when that happens with, like, you know, here's when to expect your package. Thank you to everybody who ordered hats. I don't want you guys to think that you... The hat people are like, I left when you started singing a minute ago, so I didn't hear
I think they left long before this. Let us know in the comments where you decided to tune out. Let us know.
If you guys want to leave in the comments just a little thing that's like, laps down hats are really cute, and I wish I had one. That'll let us know that you listened.
That you stayed till the end. We will only like the comments of people who stayed till the end.
Yeah. I do read all the YouTube comments, by the way. I'm just bad at responding to all of them, but I send them all to MJ, and she reads them all.
I like them all on my personal account, so if you see that there's a like, but you don't know who it's from, it's probably from me. Okay, gotta go.
Love
Bye.
your guys' comments. Okay, bye.